Hi, everybody, and welcome to webinar number 6. Wow, continual weeks of fun. And you are with Women, Emotions, and Love. We have lost our identity portion. Marianne discovered through traveling that she had a lot of technical issues, and this was maybe not the right time for her to try and do a webinar with us. So here is Gayla and Vivian. And today our topic is about the benefits of community, coaching, and support. Especially right now, more than ever, we need each other. We need to be connected. With quarantine and social distancing and isolation like we've never seen in our lifetimes, we've come to realize the importance of connection. Whether it's with our families, whether it's with our friends, our coworkers, doesn't matter. We need each other. And the virtual world only takes us so far. There's nothing like looking into someone's eyes in person to feel connected as humans. So today's topic, community, coaching, and support, is something we need to talk about, especially during COVID. We are all doing the best we can on Zoom calls, webinars, podcasts, other online options. We're doing the best we can to stay connected. But the problem is, it's a Band-Aid. It's not like being together where we're actually absorbing each other's energy. That's also part of being human. Now, we are tribal by design. Well, that's what has aided us in surviving for the ages since we've been here. We've depended on each other. We've each had our place in that tribe and community. Even the people who are off-grid, living on the land out there somewhere, have needed the help of others who have made their gear and their supplies to begin with. We just need each other. And Gayla and I started this community so that we could support you and each other during these troubling times. We said that from the beginning. We are coaches and we have giving hearts, and we want to support our fellow humans with our experiences and our knowledge so that we can be helpful to you. What are some of your thoughts on that, Gayla?
Well, I have to say, I just love that you said we are tribal by design. I love that. That is awesome. And, I think probably along with the rest of you, I miss seeing people in person so much. However, this is what we have, and I have come to accept it. And I think that all of us need to just be in that space of acceptance. And just before some of you probably got on the call, we were talking about the fact that, back in the early 1900s when the Spanish flu happened and other pandemics have happened a long time ago, just imagine being back then and having absolutely no way in this world to, as Vivian said, even find out if your family has become ill or died from this pandemic or flu. And what a blessing. I mean, I know sometimes I talk to women who are like, oh my goodness, I'm about zoomed out. And I totally get that. And everybody needs to take their little break, when they want to. But I like to think of this as a huge, huge blessing. And we can see each other, we can talk, we can have a conversation. For purposes of these webinars, we ask all of you to type in any questions in the chat box. We're going to be looking at the chat box throughout the next 30, 45 minutes that we're together, and we're going to take your questions. So feel free to get the chat box up. Let us know what questions you have, and actually maybe think about coaching. Vivian mentioned coaching. And if some of you have had a coach, let us know. Yes, I've had a coach. Tell us what your experience was. Or if you have questions about what coaching even is. I know a long time ago, coaching wasn't that popular because when we thought of a coach, we thought of somebody coaching a sports team, right? And then life coaching came along and all sorts of coaching came along. There are coaches for weight loss, there are coaches for divorce, there are coaches for, I'm a love relationship coach and a life coach, and then Vivian's an emotional health coach. And so it might seem like all of this sort of blew up really in the last couple of decades. And I think especially the last decade. So I know I've had coaches, and I want to just give you a minute to give us your thoughts, type a question or type into the chat box if you've had a coach, if it's been helpful, not helpful, and we can talk about that. And then I know Vivian has a story about how coaching has impacted her. So I'm just going to throw it back to you, Vivian.
Okay. Yeah, excuse me. I really did not know anything about coaching until about 3 years ago. I'm not even sure I had heard the term before. So the fact that it's been around for decades is a little bit of a surprise to me, but it certainly has exploded, I would say, in the last 5 years, probably last 3 or 2 mostly. I did get a coach. I got a coach about 2.5 years ago. And he was instrumental in my growth as a speaker, but also as a person. I was able to accelerate my dream of being a speaker. And then as I got to learn about coaching, I realized that my experience and my story could help other people. And so I followed that path as well and became an emotional health coach. So and I have another coach that I work with now who is my inspiration. She is phenomenal as well. And helps keep me focused on my dream and helps challenge me. It's like an accountability thing, I think, that really for people like me who can sometimes be scattered or not focused, it really helps me just boom, have somebody that is giving me suggestions, guiding me, making me think about things differently. It's a wonderful, wonderful tool in our personal growth. And I love coaching, and I love doing it, and I love participating in it. So what about you, Gayla? Have you ever had a coach?
Absolutely. I have had a number of coaches in the past 10 years in particular. And I will say the thing about a coach is they don't know everything, but they know more than you do about the particular subject that you're hiring them for. Mm-hmm. So for example, when I wanted to put together my coaching program, which I've been doing now for 10 years, I didn't really know where to start. I knew I had written the book, but I didn't know how to take the book and turn it into something really valuable for coaching other women through the process of getting themselves ready to attract the relationship that they've always dreamed about. And so I hired a coach, and he really walked me through the process of putting an actual program together, a workbook together. Again, it was really important to me that it be super valuable and that it really be effective and that it worked for people. And I had also been coached by a number of other people on a number of other subjects, and I got an NLP certification, which is neuro-linguistic programming, which I was able to really bring some powerful change in the lives of my clients. But to me, the main thing about coaching is if you want to get from point A to point B and you're a little lost and you don't know how to get from point A to point B, you might be able to someday figure it out. Or if you want to figure it out really quickly, the best thing to do is to get a coach. And so what we've been experiencing in these webinars so far is we've had a lot of great questions typed in the chat box in our first 5 webinars. And what we found is that really we want to add value, we want to answer questions, and we will, but so many people reached out to us and said that was really helpful and they wanted more. And so Vivian and I really put our heads together. We said, we need to offer something since we don't normally offer our coaching services by the hour, because again, we both have packages, because we want people to actually be successful in where they're going. But we decided these times are really challenging. And so if you want help, that's why we put together a coaching offer. We modified it a little bit because we did have Marianne in the group and she's not anymore. And so our offer is to spend 45 minutes each with you in 2 separate calls. If you have an issue that you'd really like to get jump started, but you're not quite ready for a 3 or 4 month coaching package. And we totally get that. We totally understand that. And of course, finances, figure into that. And so we have an offer and we'll type the link, into the chat box. And so for $97, you can schedule at your leisure, 45 minutes with me, 45 minutes with Vivian, and really get a jump start on whatever the issue is. Because I know many times I've had similar circumstances where I just needed a jump start, because you can't solve a problem for somebody in 5 minutes. And that's probably all we have, to answer the question on the call. We can give you an idea or 2. We can give you a tip or 2. But if you're really struggling with something, Vivian and I want to help you, because I think that now more than ever, people's struggles are coming to the forefront. We've all had a lot of time at home. Maybe we're at home with someone, or maybe we're alone. So those are 2 different problems, 2 different issues. And we've had really interesting questions on the call about how to deal with our family, our friends, our loved one, a spouse, a boyfriend, a girlfriend at home. And because there's been a lot of togetherness that no one expected. So a coach can really help get you off of the stuck place. And I think we talked a lot about being stuck in one of our earlier webinars, which you all can go back and watch any of our webinars, and they're all on our Facebook page. So hopefully you're all on the Facebook page.
And they're also on YouTube. They can just type in women ! And they'll come up. So they're there. Yes. They're everywhere. We put them everywhere.
Yeah. So I see, let me look at the chat box for a second. How do you know which coach might be right for you? That is a great question. How do you know what you need a coach for? That's another great question. I think the first thing I would say, and then I'm going to throw it to Vivian, is how do you know what you need a coach for? I think is really the first question. I think when you think about your life and what's standing in the way of your life being the way you want it to be, that's what you need a coach for. And when you wake up and you're always sort of ruminating about the same issue, maybe you want to call it a problem or maybe not, but if that thing is always on your mind, and if you could get it solved, or you could make a decision, you could be in a different place, you could be happier, you could be more content with your life. What do you think about that, Vivian?
I think that's a beautiful way of saying it. I loved how you said that. If you want to be in a different place, that's why you need a coach to help you. I couldn't agree with you more. And something just popped into my mind that I wanted to address, because a lot of people, are in therapy, right? And they're like, well, what is the difference between therapy and coaches? Well, therapy is a completely different animal. I look at coaching as possibly a adjunct, as a way to help you if you're in therapy and you're working through things with a therapist. But a coach has an actual program. We have programs that we start to finish. It's not, therapy can go on for years, and you're going into, very different arenas in your being, your mind and your childhood or whatever. But coaching, you're actually looking at a very specific problem, which the question is, how do you know you need a coach? Like you said earlier, I'm starting a business and I don't know how to do that. I get a coach. I find a coach who I resonate with. There's lots of business coaches out there. It's all about being with somebody who you resonate with, who you relate to and can relate to you. And then, and whatever package that they may have to offer you to go from point A, knowing absolutely nothing about starting a business, to point B, which is having your business up and running. And you look for what is going to help fill you up in that regard. Or like you, Gayla, with your relationship, you're dating all the wrong men. And you don't know why you keep doing that. I'm talking from personal experience. and you're like, why am I doing this? This is crazy. And then you go with Gayla and she shows you from point A, where you started, why you're doing that, to point B, all these great ideas and working through what you need to work through to change all of that, so that you can start attracting the right guys. So that's how coaching works. It's a very specific starting point, ending point, and it's a guiding system to help you see things differently, because your coach, and I love this comment in the chat box, my coach had the ability to see me differently than I see myself. In other words, she has seen my greatness. So that's a really cool comment. That's how it's worked for me. My coach has seen things in me that were there, but I didn't see them myself, and they bring them out in you. Your confidence, your energy, your new vibration, whatever it is that you get the coach for. So
absolutely, that is a great example. And the other question that I think maybe you might want to ask yourself, if you're thinking about coaching and not sure what direction to go in, one of the things you can really ask yourself is, if I don't do anything, what is this going to look like in 5 years? And I think that's a pivotal question. I know it was a pivotal question for me in my first marriage, after I worked very hard on trying to really save the relationship and get the relationship to be really fulfilling and happy for both of us. And I had been unsuccessful for a really long time. And then I had a coach, and this question came up, and I knew immediately when I asked myself that, I knew the answer, that nothing was going to change in 5 years. Absolutely nothing. That I was going to have to make a different decision. So you might want to think about just asking yourself, if I don't deal with this thing, whatever it is, a struggle, an issue, a learning, where am I going to be in 5 years? And is that where I want to be? And Vivian, you also said something really interesting. A coach can really be someone who can show you what you're not seeing about yourself.
Mhm.
And that is critical. And I know the women I coach, a lot of them are so frustrated that, as Vivian just said, they're dating all of the wrong guys, or they're getting in relationships that are just so disappointing. And I can help women specifically with love relationships and marital problems or relationship problems, because I can help them by asking them the right questions. And so, as Vivian said, there's really a difference between therapy and coaching. And sometimes people need both. Sometimes people really just need a coach because they've done the therapy, but it's not talk therapy. Coaching is not talk therapy. There are specific things that you talk with your clients about, and there are exercises and things that you have them do, which really brings an enlightenment to them about what's really going on and why they're making the same decisions.
Absolutely true.
So let me check this.
Let's see. Somebody else has been there and done that with the bad dating decisions. I think that's a really common problem for women.
It's a common problem, and
men too. I'm sure men
yes.
are dating the wrong women as well. Sorry.
Oh, no, that's okay. Because you're absolutely right. I've talked to men and they've had that experience. The thing is, it's heartbreaking for me to see that, because it's fixable. It's absolutely fixable. And I really want you all to know that there is a way for you to attract the right person that's a great match for you into your life. But the not so fun news is that you're probably standing in your own way. And I know this is hard, but we do call into our lives the type of relationship that we're broadcasting. We're broadcasting signals that are attracting the wrong people into our lives. And the good news is that you can control that. And the challenging news is that, yeah, you have some responsibility for that. And a lot of times we don't want to realize that. And I think a coach can gently, I know I am very gentle, I am very compassionate. I will walk you through the steps, in my 3.5 month long program. And I'm very compassionate, because coaching isn't a session where you just tell people what they're doing wrong. It doesn't work that way at all. It's a session where you give people the opportunity to see that there might be a different way that might feel better and fit them better and have different results.
That's really a great way of putting it. Absolutely true. And I know when I do my coaching, I think most coaches have giving hearts, and I know in my coaching, being compassionate and empathetic is because people are going through, they're dealing with loss,
right?
Which is very difficult. As humans, we have a lot of loss in our lives. Like I've said many times, it doesn't just mean a person dying in our life, or it could be our pet dying, or it could be our business dying, or our lifestyle changing. I think humans in general don't like change. They sure the heck don't like bad change.
Yeah, no.
And it brings up a lot of emotion. And
right.
So I help people look at why they're feeling the way they're feeling, and like you said, kind of reframing it, just pivoting it so that you can take that experience and that emotion that you're having. And I love to use anger as one of them, because anger is viewed as a negative emotion, and there are people out there who are anger phobic. They don't want to be around people who are angry, and they don't want to be angry themselves. But that's really unhealthy because anger is the key to freedom. It is the way that if you can process your anger in a healthy way, anger is actually a phenomenal propellant. It's a motivator. When you're angry, you're usually pretty productive. If you're cleaning your house or whatever, you can do it aerobically when you're angry, and it's getting out that energy, because anger has a lot of really great energy behind it, and it's about reframing that energy into a positive and dealing with it, embracing it and processing it so that you can get past it. Because otherwise, like you said before, Gayla, you can, if you stay stuck in anger, you're angry all the time about everything. All you see is anger, and you treat people badly, you treat yourself badly. I mean, anger can be a real negative if you stay stuck in it. So that is what I do with my clients, is help them look at the emotion, embrace the emotion, process the emotion, and move forward through that emotion. And it's life-changing. It really is.
Well, absolutely. And that's one of the reasons that Vivian and I decided to team up and do these webinars together, because I know that when I meet a woman who has had all these bad relationship issues, maybe divorced, maybe even multiple times, and just is struggling with that, there are some real intense emotions behind that. And so that's one of the reasons that Vivian and I decided to offer this package that we're offering today. Well, not this mini package, I should say, this mini package of 45 minutes with Vivian and 45 minutes with me. Because if you're there and you're finding yourself, you're either sad all the time, or you are angry all the time, or you're super disappointed, you're frustrated, whatever the emotion is, you can talk to Vivian and get an idea about that, and then talk to me, and I can help you take that next step, give you some ideas how to handle this issue. And so we want to just offer something that will help you get moved off of the stuck place, because sometimes all it takes is that first step. Mm-hmm. I know if you just take a step in the right direction, it's easier to take another step in the right direction and another step. But sometimes, we just don't know what to do next. I know I've had times in my life where I've just been confused. I haven't had a clue. What is really the problem? What's really going on? What do I do about it? And I've needed somebody to help mentor and guide me. And I think a coach is very much like a mentor. But again, coaches, the way that you want to look at a coach, this is what I tell people. If you're looking back to that question that we're asked, how do you know if it's the right coach for you? It doesn't make sense to pick a coach who hasn't gone through what you've gone through and mastered it. Not being perfect. I mean, there are no perfect coaches. We're no perfect people. But they know more than you do about it, and they know what worked to get through it. And the example that I like to use is, let's say you decided that you wanted to become a Mary Kay cosmetic salesperson, and that your goal was that you were going to be so great at this that you were going to get the pink Cadillac. Well, if you wanted someone to teach you, coach you, mentor you on how you're going to get to be that successful selling Mary Kay, why would you call someone who's barely making it selling Mary Kay? Wouldn't you call on the person who has the pink Cadillac, who has the thing that you want. I mean, it just makes sense. It's kind of like, another example is, if you need a financial advisor, why would you choose a financial advisor that doesn't have their own finances in order? I mean, it doesn't make any sense, because they can tell you what to do, but they haven't lived it, they haven't experienced it, they haven't been successful in getting their own finances together, but they're trying to tell you what to do. You know, it really doesn't make sense. So I want you to be careful about choosing a coach, because I have personally met love relationship coaches that are completely unsuccessful in having a love relationship. You know, I think they're smart. I think they know some things to do, but I know for me personally, I'm not going to spend my hard-earned money on a coach who isn't living that life that I want to live. That resonate with any of you?
Makes perfect sense.
So I tell people all the time, in fact, you know, I joke around and I say, you know, my marriage to my husband now, that we've been married 15 years, that I have the pink Cadillac of relationships, because I have a relationship that works, that's healthy, that makes me so incredibly happy and fulfilled in my life. And I know I reverse engineered that whole thing and interviewed women, hundreds of women from across the country. I know what works to attract a relationship and to sustain a relationship. So I can be confident that I can help you. And at the same time, again, there's no perfect marriage, there's no perfect boyfriend, girlfriend, but there's someone who's perfect for you. And I want anyone who wants love, oh my gosh, I want them to have it. Want them to have it. And I know, Vivian, anyone who wants to feel emotionally healthy and strong and resilient and confident, I know you want them to have it.
Absolutely. And why I became a coach is because when I was going through my incredible time of loss, I had some core friends who were there, but you know, friends can only do so much. They can only hear so much. I got to the point where I just didn't even want to talk to my friends anymore, because I was afraid I had worn out my welcome. And I'm sure I had. I'm sure they were like, oh God, Vivian's calling. I don't think I can pick up the phone right now. I can't take it. Because there were some very few of them that I felt comfortable enough or free enough to really tell them that I wasn't just fine and everything was fine, that I really was struggling. And that's what a coach is. They're the person that you can call and say what the truth, right? The absolute truth. And I didn't have that. I didn't have that support. And so my goal in becoming a coach is to be that support, so that somebody doesn't have to go through that alone, doesn't have to feel like they've worn out their friends. Uh, and I'm like I said in the title of our topics today, community. I want to start a community that I'm not only a part of, but there are other people who are going through the same thing are a part of. Because like you said, Gayla, if you're around people who have no clue what the heck you're talking about, it's worse. It makes it worse. It makes you feel even more isolated. It makes you feel even more like a freak, maybe. Why don't they understand me? So the importance of community is just, it's undescribable, really. To have that support group, that people, even if they can just say, I know what you're talking about, I know how you're feeling, I've been there, I've absolutely been through that, and I understand how hard it is. Just hearing those words makes all the difference in the world, all the difference. And I want to, and I'm like you, I want to make sure that if I can help people out there who are struggling through being stuck in their emotions, being in grief, being overwhelmed by their emotions, whatever it is, if I can just be a little bit of a light in their life, a little guiding light, and to bring them joy and hope. And because I too have been through it, I was devastated in so many ways. I was lost my husband, lost my house, lost my finances, lost my lifestyle, lost everything that, worldly, plus my relationship. And I've come out on the other end better, happy, joyful, full of life. And I want to be able to share that with you and let you know that there's hope, and that you don't have to live in a dark world, that there is light at the end of the tunnel. And is it easy? Heck no. But if you have the support of somebody who has been there alongside you, it makes all the difference. It makes it a lot easier.
Very well said, Vivian. And I want to go back to a point you made about, about friends and family. Look, I know your friends love you, and I know your family probably loves you. However, they can give you some really bad advice, and I know it's well-intentioned. We were laughing about this on the last webinar. They can hand out marriage advice like never go to bed mad, and stuff like that, which is really not great advice. It's really better to go to bed mad, maybe even, as Vivian said, in a separate room, than to get into a big, long, drawn out fight where people say things that they really don't really mean, and they just are hurt, and so they're lashing out. It's better to go to bed mad and say, we're just going to go to bed. We're both going to relax. We're going to chill out. We're going to get some control of our emotions, and we're going to set a time tomorrow. And we're going to talk about this when we feel better and we're more sane, instead of creating this big battleground just because, Aunt Susie told us, well, now, good marriages, you don't ever go to bed mad. Well, it's not good advice. I think it was well intended. What the advice really meant was, please put some effort into resolving your differences, as soon as possible. But sometimes it's not possible to resolve it in an effective, powerful way. And so, one of the things I teach my clients is how to resolve conflict in a really productive way that feels good for you, feels good for your partner. So I know Vivian and I have been talking about coaching and the benefits of coaching. Let us know in the chat box, is this making sense to you? Do you have any other questions about coaching? Or if you're experiencing an emotion right now and need us to give you a little starter, idea about that, go ahead, type anything that you want us to address. Let me check the time. It's 10:43. We have just a few minutes to answer a question. I don't know, Vivian, if you want to, or if you can type the link.
I have link already.
Oh,
it's
you have?
in there.
Okay.
Do you see it?
Okay, great. Okay, the link is in the chat box so that you can read more about us and check out the offer too.
Another thing we wanted to bring up today while you're typing is we are thinking about changing our format a little bit and putting together maybe a workshop or a master class of some sort. And we'd love your feedback on that. We'd love your thoughts on how you might feel more supported in a different format or something. So if you have any thoughts on that, also please put that in the chat box and we'll address that as well.
Yes. And let us know. Vivian and I do put a lot of work into these Friday webinars. And I know for a lot of you who are watching the replay, thank you very much for watching the replay, and I hope it's been helpful. But if some other format or time or scenario would work better for you, Vivian and I want to hear from our audience, because we want to serve you as Vivian said, we want to make this easy for you. Excuse me, we thought what we were doing thus far would just give you an opportunity to get to know us, and we could take your questions and we could sort of get a feel for what kind of women's community specifically. I know we have guys on the call, and we appreciate that. And that's fine. You can always be on the call. But Vivian and I mainly work with women, and we want to make sure that we're serving you. And so there are podcasts out there. There are different forms. There are master classes. I did say at the beginning that Vivian and I want to see you live and in person next year. And hopefully we're rooting for 2021. Yes.
Come on. You can do it.
We are rooting for being able to be physically, in the same space. And we are going to be working in the next few months toward the end of the year on putting together something that will be really beneficial for you. Maybe multiple days, maybe 1 day, maybe 2-day workshop. But in the interim, while we have our wonderful friend Zoom, we want to know what would work for you, because we want it to be valuable. Again, Vivian and I could talk about lots of things, but yeah, we talk about a lot of things, don't we, Vivian? Yes. But we want this to be valuable because, again, we're coaches. We want to coach people who really are in a place where they're like, okay, enough's enough. I need to do something about this. And that's why we put together the package for $97, because we don't offer that. We have never offered that. And in our own personal businesses, it's not how we operate. But we want to give you a head start, and we want to give you a little help to just move out of that place where you're stuck and maybe are experiencing an emotion that you're tired of.
And if you're watching the replay, please just post on the page, the Facebook page, any ideas you have that you would like to see in the future, whether it's topics to talk about or a different format or whatever. And we're happy to work on that. Absolutely.
Yes. And we're going to do this again next Friday. Mm-hmm. And so what we want you to do is take some time to think about it. Reach out, post whatever you want on our Facebook page about your ideas, your suggestions. Make sure that you actually register for the webinar, because if you register, you get the replay. And so you don't want to miss the replay. I mean, even though you can go to YouTube, but if you want to get it sent to you so that you have it. So I think that based on the feedback we get this week, we may have some answers for you about the direction that we're going to go. And again, just remember, we're here for you. Please take advantage of the Facebook group. We're happy to answer your questions. And if we miss it in the feed or something, you can reach out directly to either one of us, and we'll make sure that we post it. And remember, if you have the question, I bet a lot of other people have the same question. So you're really doing a service for all the women out there that are struggling with the same thing you are, but just haven't asked us the question. So just don't be afraid to just ask us.
Okay. I don't think we have any more questions for today. So I guess we're going to wrap it up. What do you think?
Yes. Let's wrap it up. It's Friday. I know I look forward to Fridays. I hope you all do too. And I hope you have a wonderful, safe, healthy weekend. And let's just all put some kindness and love and joy and peace in the world, because we need it. We need it so much. And I wish all of you the very best, always. And please take time for yourself. Enjoy the weekend. And I hope to see you on the Facebook page.
Yeah.
And again, make sure you click the link and check out our offer. And you can also ask questions about it if you have any.
Yeah. We got a very nice compliment about that we have great insight, Gayla, and that our information is spot on. So we appreciate that. Thank you for that feedback. That helps us a lot to know we're on the right path. So thank you for that. And thank you for being here, everybody. And we'll see you next week.
Yeah.
Same time, same place.
Okay.
Okay.
Have an awesome weekend.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.